Hello, everyone. In this video, I am going to describe how you can check out books from the library, and also I will do a book talk, which I'll cover most of our genres and give you an explanation of some of the different genres and then some examples of some books you could check out if you're interested in those genres. To begin with, I want to show you on this page, this is the speed dial page where you can get to the library. So if you scroll about halfway down and then click on high school, you'll be taken to the library homepage. The links we need for today are currently all on the front page to try to make it as easy as possible. There's the Koha link, Koha to sign in and place a hold, and then there's a virtual tour. If you want to just search for a book, you can click on here. You log in right over here. To log in, you'll put in your student ID number and then your Google password. It's the same password you use for all of your Google materials for school. That includes Google Classroom and Google Drive. Once you log in there, you'll be able to search and to place holds. And you can search by topics, or if you have a particular book you'd like to check out, you can look for that specific book. If you do find a book that you would like to read, all you do is click the place hold button and then confirm the hold. If you do not confirm the hold, we will not get a notification that you have requested the book, and it will kind of be lost in the system. So please do make sure that you hit that button. The other option that you have back here on the Penn Manor Library webpage is to do the virtual tour. So the virtual tour is just our space this year. Basically, this is where we're storing the books for this year, and you can see we have the different genres. These letters with the blinking lights, these are all different genres. That's science fiction right there. There's graphic novels, horror. YA is actually nonfiction. Mystery, suspense. There's the general fiction, romance, teen, war, Spanish language, and then you'll see over here sports. We also have adventure and fantasy are on this side. So you're able to navigate this, and what you can do is, let's say you are interested in a sports book. If you click on the SP for sports and then click here to see the books, you can browse the genre. So this allows you to, in a way, get that experience of browsing the shelves, even though you have to do it virtually. But you get a picture, a cover of the book, you get a description of the book. I can click on it. Okay, here's box out. And then I get a summary right over here. And I can place a hold right here. And if you're logged into Koha again, you're able to place that hold and get the book. So if you're not totally sure what you want, but you do know you want to look in or you want to browse in a certain genre, this may be a way to do it. And then you can just kind of flip through the pages here at the bottom to see all of the different holdings. So again, that is in order to check a book out. At this time, I'm going to switch over and describe to you some of the books that we have and some of the different genres that you can choose from. All right, so with that, we're going to look at some different genre books. I like to choose a few nonfiction books to begin with. Those are books that are under that YA section that you saw in the virtual tour. So this first one is called Inside the Cage, and it's a basketball book. It's a true story. It's about this outdoor basketball court that is on. It's in It's on West Fourth Street in New York City. It's this famous outdoor court where there's these big tournaments and all these famous people go, and like some NBA stars have played there. And this is about this court in Greenwich Village in New York City, and 1 year the tournament that takes place there. If you enjoy basketball, it's also a history book. It talks a lot. The book goes into the history of this court and why it's so famous and what draws people to it. So if you enjoy sports history, Inside the Cage, especially basketball, you might really enjoy Inside the Cage. The next book that I have that's also nonfiction is called Aftermath Inc. And this is really for someone who's into forensics or like CSI work or police work. So if you are considering that field, you may want to read up on this one a little bit. It goes again. We go back in history just a little bit into the mid '80s when there was kind of this like big shift in how forensic scenes, where either murders or something bloody or something kind of horrific had taken place, how those scenes were cleaned up. And this company begins to offer the service essentially of cleaning up these crime scenes. And so these are essentially, it's almost like a janitorial service, but then it becomes this crime scene service, and they go in and they take care of whatever they find there. And this is the story of the company, how it got built and how it was successful, but also some of the things they had to learn along the way as they were as they were cleaning up and becoming really part of these investigations in some cases. So Aftermath Inc., like I said, if you're into forensics or true crime stuff, you might really like that one. The other books that I have are all genre books. So I'm going to briefly talk about the genre and then briefly talk about the book and move on. But again, in the virtual tour, if you hear about a genre and you'd like to sort of explore that one, go in and look through it and look at the titles, and you can find what you're looking for, I hope. The first one I have is adventure. So this is adventure are a lot of outdoor stories, a lot of survival stories. I will say adventure also does have things that are like spy stories or pirate stories, like action adventure is sometimes part of that too. Um, Great hunting stories. These are outdoor, like survival kinds of stories, and these are not real. This book almost looks like it could be true stories, but these are just hunting stories. And if you're interested in something outdoors, you might enjoy that book or the genre in general. As far as survival stories go. The next genre is fantasy. So fantasy is going to be any magical elements, any supernatural creatures that are mythical supernatural creatures, dragons and chimera and things like that. It also has some of our superheroes in it. The superpowers are in the fantasy. So Wonder Woman. This is Wonder Woman Warbringer. And we have a Miles Morales book. We have a Batman. It's called Night Stalker. It's like a Batman book. So some of the superhero stuff is in here too. In Warbringer, you find a young Diana who saves this woman, kind of controversial, in sort of she saves her, but she's not supposed to. And what ends up happening is that this woman that she saves may be the Warbringer. That is, she comes from a long line that's kind of almost destined to bring about a war. And Helena Troy is kind of supposed to be one of her great ancestors who is kind of famous in literature for she's the woman who started the Iliad, or at least she's blamed for starting it. Um, anyway, the Wonder Woman story is one with a lot of action. It's got the superheroes, it's got the superpowers, all of those kinds of things. So if you're interested, that's one of the fantasy examples, but you can check through that genre too. Sci-fi. This is The Eye of Minds. This is by James Dashner. This guy is the same writer who wrote The Maze Runner, and this is a neat virtual reality story. Science fiction is going to have exploration to outer space, but also any kind of like AI, robots, and in this case we have virtual reality. So in this one we have a serial killer who has figured out how to kind of hijack a virtual reality system and kill people in their homes. And this is not supposed to be possible, but he's doing it anyway. Our main character is then called in to try to find him. He is a hacker, but he's very good at hacking into the system, and so they ask him for his help in the investigation, and he's trying to hunt down the serial killer in virtual reality. So that one's a science fiction. The next genre we jump to is horror. So horror, you'll have a pretty wide range here. Some of the horror books are legitimately scary or at least creepy and kind of morbid and maybe a little gory. Others are more like fun horror. This one is probably somewhere in between. It's meant to be a little bit frightening, but also it's nothing too bloody or too gory. The premise is that this young man Z goes missing. He's gone for an entire year. They believe that he was kidnapped. A lot of people thought he was perhaps dead, but he comes back, and they're at sort of a welcome home party for him. And all of his friends are there, and everyone's sort of not really sure how to handle the situation. And then something really strange happens. They are all sort of taken. They all sort of disappear, and they're stuck in this kind of world between worlds, and they are trying to escape from it. And the hide and the seeker comes from this thing that is kind of trying to hunt them down. And now, Z, who has been in this world before, is now all of these people who know him are now pulled into this kind of haunted world, and it goes from there. They're trying to survive this monster essentially. So that's hide and seeker. The next book, so we have mystery suspense is the next genre. This will include any kind of detective stories, but also and police stories on kidnappings, sort of anything where you've got kind of like a serial killer or some kind of like psychotic criminal hunting people down. That's mystery suspense. This one we have You Owe Me a Murder. A very dark premise. We have this a girl who gets into a conversation with another woman on a plane. She's talking about her ex-boyfriend, and essentially makes the comment of like, yeah, I just wish he was dead, and doesn't mean it. However, the person she is with takes this as a pact, um, and goes out and carries out this murder, and then comes back to him or her, excuse me, and says, "Hey, I killed somebody for you. Now it's your turn. You got to kill somebody for me, or I'm going to turn you into the cops." And she's got to sort of decide what is going to happen. So it's called You Owe Me a Murder. There's some great turns in it. It's got a like I said, kind of an interesting suspense premise because she's kind of made a deal with a psycho and has to try to get out of it. The next book that I have here is in the teen genre. So teen is a genre where you've got teenage main characters dealing with real life scenarios, and a lot of them are like serious issues, things that can be in some books it might be something like an eating disorder, maybe like troubles at home or family or homelessness, or race issues, or it could just be a big variety. Really, any kind of real life issue shows up in the teen genre. This book is called The Bridge. It deals with suicide, and in it, we have two main characters who both meet on this bridge, and they are both considering jumping. What's interesting is the book takes them through all four possible scenarios. That is, if both of them jump, if neither of them jump, and then if one or the other of them jump. And the book kind of walks you through those three and explains the repercussions and what happens and what would occur. So it's this neat book that's almost like kind of four stories in one, but they're all the same characters, and you see different parts of their lives, and you see how their decisions would affect those people around them and those things. Because that's called The Bridge. Again, a more serious novel there. Again and Again is a romance novel. If you're looking for kind of a fun, this is actually a new romance. It hasn't been out very long. It's about one summer. We've got Adelaide is the main character. She falls in love again and again and again that summer. Basically, it's almost like this repetition of her just like falling in love and then realizing like she's made a terrible mistake again, and a little bit of like romantic comedy in it. But there's also some an underlying sort of seriousness to it too. So if you're in the mood for romance books, romance can be really tragic. Some of the books we have, and some can be a little lighter, or really just focus on, like I said, it's kind of like romantic comedies. I've got then a sports book. This is called Brawler. It's about a young man who has issues controlling his temper. He is at a wrestling tournament. He punches a ref in the face, and he is charged with assault. He's supposed to go to jail, but instead he runs away. And it's about what happens to him on the street. Essentially, he ends up finding out that he can earn money by fighting, and he gets himself pulled into this kind of underground UFC, situation where he is basically fighting for purse money. If you're interested in something gritty, but does deal with, as I said, wrestling, a little bit of mixed martial arts, also, you might enjoy Brawler. And then this is a war book. It's called The Darkest Path. We have war books about all different wars. If you're looking for something on World War II, even our Holocaust literature is actually in the war section. But this one kind of it supposes a war in the future. It actually takes place in America. What's happened is a militia group. The American government's kind of fallen apart, and this militia group is moving across the country. They're called the Glorious Path, and they're sort of conquering city after city, and you are the main character is a member of this glorious path, and he begins to question their methods and what they're doing, and whether or not they really want to um, create another democracy, or if something else is going on, or if they want to try to rebuild the United States, or if they're actually trying to just take everything over. So, Darkest Path, war style of book, but this one's a little, like I said, could maybe go into sci-fi, but there's nothing real science fictiony about it, other than it takes place in the near future. So that's The Darkest Path. You're welcome to place any of those on hold. You can search for them, put them on hold. First come, first serve, but any of those are available. And then make sure that you just select or find something. If you have questions, you can email me at jeffrey.taylor@penmanor.net, and I'll try to get back to you. Or if you just need a suggestion for a book, I can try to help you with that too. So best of luck, and I hope to see you